Sometimes you think you've got life all figured out, nice house, quiet neighborhood. Biggest worry is whether the lawn's trimmed just right. But then, at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, you're staring out your kitchen window, watching some woman your HOA tyrant slide a key into your front door like she owns the place. And when that lock actually turns, your whole world flips upside down. Hey, I'm Matt Coleman, and this is the story of how my wife Sarah turned our little suburban nightmare into a moment I'll never forget. If you've got a crazy neighbor story, drop it in the comments. I am dying to know I'm not alone here. So, let me take you back to how this all started. 6 months ago, Sarah and I moved to Willow Creek, a picture-perfect subdivision in Ohio. White picket fences, kids on bikes, the whole deal. We thought we'd landed in paradise. Then we met Linda Hayes, our HOA president, who rolled up with a smile that could charm a snake and a rulebook thicker than a phone book. "Welcome to Willow Creek," she said, handing us this packet of regulations. "We keep property values high with strict standards." Sounded reasonable enough. Keep the grass green. Don't park your RV in the driveway. Fine. I'm a building code inspector, so I'm used to rules. But 3 days later, we got our first violation notice. Our mailbox was 1 inch too close to the curb. 1 inch. I measured it twice, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. I fixed it, kept the peace, figured it was a one-off. But then came a next notice: our trash bins were out 6 hours too early for pickup. 6 hours. I started wondering if Linda was measuring our life with a ruler and a stopwatch. Sarah just laughed it off at first. "She's got too much time on her hands, Matt." But I could tell it bugged her. Linda wasn't just picky, she had this vibe, like she was watching us, waiting for us to slip up. Things got weird fast. One morning, I'm sipping coffee, and I see Linda at our front door, trying key after key from this massive ring, muttering something about community compliance checks. My jaw dropped. This wasn't about trash bins anymore. This was personal. Each key had a little tag with what looked like addresses, and I realized she wasn't just messing with us, she was targeting half the neighborhood. Sarah was next to me, her eyes narrowing. Is she seriously trying to break in? Her voice wasn't scarred, it was sharp, like she was already 3 steps ahead. "Call the cops," I said, but Sarah didn't move for the phone. Instead, she grabbed her notebook, the one she uses for her legal assistant work, and started scribbling. Time, date, what Linda was wearing, every detail. I'm thinking, who is this woman I married? I stormed outside, heart pounding. "Linda, what the hell are you doing?" She spun around, not even embarrassed, just smug, holding up her key ring like it was a badge of honor. "Emergency inspection, Matthew. Your exterior violations require immediate interior compliance checks." "Violations?" I looked at our yarn-eat lawn. Fresh paint, nothing out of place. "What violations?" I snapped. She flipped through her clipboard, rattling off nonsense. "Porch light fixture unapproved. Driveway edging off by 1/2 inch. Unpermitted flower bed." It was like she was inventing problems to justify her obsession. I told her flat out, "You've got no right to enter our house, and definitely no right to those keys." She just smirked. "HOA bylaws grant me emergency access." I was about to lose it when Sarah stepped out, and let me tell you, the air got cold. "Hi, Linda," Sarah said, her voice sweet but sharp enough to cut glass. "I'd love to see the bylaws authorizing that emergency access. For my records." Linda's smirk faltered just for a second. "That's internal HOA business," she stammered. "Not for homeowners." Sarah pulled out her phone, hit record, and leaned in. "Actually, Ohio state law requires HOAs to provide transparent documentation for any claimed authority over private property. So, I'll need those bylaws, board minutes, and your insurance covered for these activities." I swear, Linda's face went white. I'm standing there, wondering when my wife became a legal ninja. She's a legal assistant, sure, but this was next level. Linda mumbled something about formal notices and scurried off, leaving us a citation demanding an interior inspection in 48 hours. That night, I couldn't sleep. Linda's key ring kept flashing my mind how many houses had she tried this on. Around 11 p.m., I heard it, scratching at our door. I crept to the window, phone in hand, and there she was, Linda, hunched over our lock with actual lock-picking tools, like she'd upgraded from HOA Karen to suburban cat burglar. My hand was shaking as I woke Sarah. She's back, and she's got tools. Sarah was up in a second, no grogginess, like she'd been waiting for this. "Call the police," she said, already recording the scene through the window. The 911 operator sounded skeptical. "Are you sure it's not a family member?" And I nearly laughed. "Lady, my family doesn't carry burglary kits." By the time the cops showed up, Linda had vanished into the night, but she'd left scratches on her lock proof. This was no game. Sarah was eerily calm, inspecting the door like a detective. "We're changing the locks tomorrow, Matt, and getting cameras." I looked at her. "Sarah, this is an HOA dispute, not a crime spree." She gave me this look, dead serious. "Matt, this woman just tried to commit a felony. This stopped being about rules a long time ago." Next morning, we're installing new deadbolts when Linda rolls up again, this time with a locksmith in tow, some poor guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. She's waving more paperwork. "Emergency structural assessment. Matthew, your locks don't meet safety standards." The locksmith shrugged. "She's paying me to upgrade your system for insurance compliance." Sarah stepped forward, and I swear she grew taller. "Sir, this woman has no legal authority to touch our property. If you proceed, you're committing criminal destruction of property, and I'm recording this for the police." The guy took one look at Sarah's face, packed his tools, and muttered, "I'm not going to jail for HOA nonsense." Linda was livid. "You can't interfere with community safety." Sarah didn't blink. "Show me the board resolution, Linda. Show me anything that proves you've got this power." Linda had nothing, but instead of backing down, she hissed, "You can't run from your past, Matthew. Some people never recover from what you've done." That hit me like a punch. My past. I'm a building inspector. My job is catching safety violations, not making enemies. But Linda's words felt personal, like she knew me. Before I could ask, a police car pulled up, and out stepped Officer Ryan Thompson. He looked at Linda with this tired sigh. "Mrs. Hayes, we've been over this." Then it clicked. Thompson called her Mrs. Hayes, not Linda Carter or whatever alias she'd used at the HOA meetings. "Officer," Sarah cut in, her voice like steel. "How many times has Mrs. Hayes tried this stunt?" Thompson shifted uncomfortably. "I can't discuss ongoing cases, but she has no authority to enter your home or change your locks." Then Linda snapped. "Ryan, you're supposed to back me up." "Ryan?" I caught the familiarity. "Wait, are you two related?" The silence was deafening. Finally, Thompson admitted, "She's my sister-in-law, and I'm sorry, she's way out of line." Holy crap, Linda's leveraging her cop connection to scare people. But Thompson wasn't playing along. He looked at us. "Do you want to press charges for attempted breaking and entering?" Linda went ballistic. "You can't arrest me for protecting our community." Thompson's voice was quiet but firm. "Linda, I can arrest you for trespassing. Don't make me." Sarah stepped in. "We'll file a complaint tomorrow, but for now, get her off our property." Linda stormed off, but not before hissing, "This isn't over, Matthew. You'll pay for what you did to my family." Her family? That's when Sarah dropped a bomb. "Matt, I've been digging into Linda's background. She's not who she says she is." Turns out, Sarah had been researching Linda since day one. Public records, financials, everything. Linda Hayes moved to Willow Creek a year ago, paid cash for her house, no mortgage, no credit history. Who drops $500,000 in cash unless they're hiding something? Sarah said, pulling up files I didn't even know she could access. No job, no digital footprint before Willow Creek. Just an HOA title she wielded like a crown. And then Sarah showed me photos, months of surveillance shots of our house, our routines, me leaving for work, Sarah at the grocery store. Linda wasn't just nitpicking, she was stalking us. Matt, Sarah said, her voice low, this is about your job. Linda's targeting you for a reason. My job? 3 years ago, I cited a contractor, Greg Larson, for major code violation shoddy materials, fake certifications, a building that collapsed and injured workers. Greg went to prison, and last year, he died in a fight behind bars. Sarah's research showed Linda was Greg's sister, using her married name, Hayes, to fly under the radar. This wasn't about HOA rules, it was revenge. That night, our security cameras caught Linda and a crew in our backyard, snapping photos with professional gear. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Your inspections ruined my family. Now I'm ruining yours. Sarah was already on the phone, but not with the cops, with federal investigators. Matt, Linda's harassment matches a pattern. They're tracking, stalking, intimidation, targeting inspectors like you across multiple states. My head was spinning. My wife wasn't just a legal assistant, she was working with the feds, building a case against Linda's network. The next morning, Linda showed up like she was storming a castle, 6 people, clipboards, a shiny new key that fit our lock perfectly. She must have copied it during her locksmith stunt. I called for Sarah, but she was gone, house empty, coffee still warm. Linda unlocked our door, stepped inside with this triumphant grin, like she'd won some sick game. Her crew fanned out, ready to inspect our home, probably to fabricate violations to force us out. Then Sarah appeared from the hallway, holding a document that stopped Linda dead in her tracks. Linda Hayes, Sarah said, voice calm but deadly. This is your arrest warrant. Linda froze, her clipboard crashing to the floor, keys spilling everywhere, each tagged with a neighbor's address. Her face went from smug to terrified in seconds. Arrest warrant? She whispered. You're just a legal assistant. Sarah stepped closer. Actually, I'm a federal investigator, and you're under arrest for stalking, harassment, and conspiracy to defraud. Linda's legs buckled as Thompson and 2 other cops appeared, cuffing her while her crew bolted. Turns out, Sarah had been protecting me for years, assigned to monitor threats from Greg's network after my inspection took him down. Linda wasn't just his sister, she was his partner in a multi-state fraud ring, using substandard materials and bribed inspectors to cut corners. My report exposed them, and Linda made it her mission to ruin every inspector involved. I was her 10th target. Sarah had been building a federal case, using our marriage as cover. Our love, real. Her job, a secret that saved us. Days later, Linda's lawyer tried to smear me, releasing fake audio of me threatening Greg, me voice, clear as day, saying I'd destroy him. It went viral, tanked my career, turned neighbors against us. A brick smashed our window with a note, justice for Greg. I started doubting myself that I go too far 3 years ago, but Sarah's team proved the audio was a deep fake, stitched from city meeting recordings. The truth came out. Linda's network had targeted dozens of families, driven people from homes, ruined lives. My inspection had saved workers from collapsing buildings, but to Linda, I was the villain. 6 months later, I'm in D.C., getting a presidential medal for public integrity, shaking hands with the president while Sarah agent Sarah Coleman watches with pride. Linda's serving 20 years, her keys now a museum exhibit on justice. Our neighborhood threw a block party, neighbors who once shunned us, now toasting our names. Letters from workers I saved, thanking me for their lives, sit on our table. That's the real win. But here's the thing, what do you do when you learn your life's half a lie, even if it's for love? Sarah's deception hurt, but she chose to stay, to build a real life with me. We're still here, still fighting to trust again. So, tell me in the comments, what would you do if your neighbor turned out to be a mastermind or your spouse a secret agent? When does justice outweigh betrayal? And when does love outweigh the truth? Hit that like button, share your craziest neighbor story, and let's keep this wild ride going. I'll catch you in the next one.